Grab your popcorn. Let's continue the chilling story of the evil POS girl. Because tonight, Ikori returns, and what awaits her in the new town is darker than anything she has ever faced. The night Ikori fled Abakpa, the sky itself seemed to chase her. The prayers from the town had grown too hot, burning her skin like invisible fire, choking her lungs each time someone shouted, "Holy Ghost fire!" By midnight, she could no longer hide. She ran through the trees, through the bush paths, until she crossed into another town, a place called Calabar South, where nobody knew her name, nobody knew her evil, nobody had ever heard of her evil cash. But even here, she felt unsafe. So she refused to rent a house. Not because she couldn't afford it, but because the spirit realm had warned her that walls attract attention. And in her weakened state, she didn't want to draw eyes to herself. Instead, she found a thick bush at the edge of Calabar South. A bush so quiet that even the crickets seemed afraid to sing. Every night she slept there, not on a mat, not on a cloth, but on bare ground. And every morning she woke up with her black eyes shining, mud on her legs, yet looking as fresh as someone who slept on a king-size bed. Why? Because she used her dark powers. Whenever she needed new clothes, she stretched her palm, muttered ancient words, and Fa's symbol clothes transformed into stylish outfits. Whenever she wanted a new look, she clicked her tongue 3 times. Her hair would shift, twist, extend, cut itself, and reshape into whatever style she wanted. Wigs, braids, curly, short pixie cut. She could wear 10 different hairstyles in one day. The people in town started whispering, "Who is that girl? How come her hairstyle changes every day? Where does she live?" But Ikori simply smiled and walked past. She was still walking around daily, monitoring the environment and doing her evil POS business, asking people if they wanted to withdraw cash. She would go to university, school gates, markets, bus parks, and innocent people would use their ATMs on her evil POS, and some would transfer money to her innocently and also collect her evil cash that brings bad luck to them. None of them knew she slept among snakes and scorpions in the forest. None of them knew she spent her nights whispering to shadows. None of them knew that something was coming for her. On her 3rd night in the bush, around 2:33 a.m., the air changed. The leaves froze. The wind died. The moon dimmed. The shadows around her began to twist like living creatures. Ikori sat up immediately. She knew this presence. Suddenly, boom! A blast of dark wind hit her chest and threw her flat on the ground. She gasped, froze, waited. Then she saw them, 7 dark figures, floating above the ground, each wearing long black wrappers that never touched the earth, her fellow witches. But tonight, they didn't come with smiles or praise. Their faces were twisted, their eyes were red, their mouths trembled with rage. The tallest stepped forward and hissed, "Ikori, you have disappointed us." Ikori's heart stopped. The others chorused, "You have failed us." Her breath became cold. The tallest witch continued, "We sent you to Abakpa for one soul, just one small boy, yet you could not handle him. Another shouted, "You allowed prayers to chase you away, shame." Another hissed, "Your weakness is an embarrassment to the covenant." Ikori dropped to her knees immediately. "Mother, sisters, please, please forgive me," she begged, hitting her forehead on the ground, shaking like a leaf. But her plea fell on deaf ears. The witches formed a circle around her. Their voices deepened, echoing from the underground. "You will be punished." Ikori began crying. "Please, give me another chance. I didn't mean—" Silence. A whip made of fire appeared in the air and lashed across her back. She screamed. The ground shook. Another lash. Then another. Then the tallest witch gave the final decree. "You must bring us 7 souls from this new town. 7 fresh souls." Ikori trembled violently. "If you fail..." All 7 witches bent forward at once, their voices mixing into one deep, monstrous growl. "We will kill you." Then, pooh off. They vanished. Ikori remained on the ground, shaking, bleeding shadows instead of blood. 7 souls. 7 innocent souls. And if she failed, her own sisters would destroy her. She lifted her face slowly, wiping her tears with trembling fingers. Then she whispered into the night, "Calabar, south, you will suffer for this." And the wind suddenly returned. Cold, angry, hungry, Ikori stood up, her eyes turning pitch black. She had 7 souls to deliver. The countdown had begun. Ikori eventually set up a small stand close to the roadside where she would see many customers and continue her evil. She sat quietly and innocently on a rubber chair, her blue POS balanced on the yellow rubber table under a colorful yellow umbrella. Some students passed, withdrew money from her evil POS, and she gave them her evil cash. Some lost concentration in school and failed that semester after using her POS, and some even used their school fees for betting and gambling after encountering Ikori. As she continued her daily evil in Calabar South, the witch's words kept ringing in her head. 7 souls, bring us 7 souls. Then, one night, Ikori transformed into a handsome rich man with a nice car and drove to Atekong, a busy spot by the roadside where beautiful hustlers usually stood to wait for men and rich women to pick them for the night. Ikori approached a cute one with a nice body. "Fine, Ashao. What'll be your price for short time?" Ikori asked in her male voice. The lady smiled, excited. "Olga, na 30,000 naira," she replied. Ikori nodded and told her to enter the car. The lady quickly jumped in, very happy because a customer who didn't bargain was the prayer of every night hustler. "Olga, you be better customer," she said as they drove off. Ikori didn't say a word. She simply blew a white powder across the girl's face and the lady slept off immediately. Ikori drove her towards the bush, parked the car, changed back into her feminine body, held the lady and vanished deep into the forest where her fellow witches were waiting. She delivered the first soul. The witches smiled and surrounded her. "Well done, Ikori," they said. 6 more, and your punishment will be over." Ikori thanked them, and the next day she returned to her roadside spot and continued her evil POS business while secretly hunting for the next target. Innocent people kept withdrawing, and Ikori smiled as she watched their destinies twist. Later that afternoon, she closed early, transformed into a young, handsome man, and went to a betting shop to lure men. Ikori smiled as she interacted with 5 young men. "How far, my guy?" she asked one of them. "I get cousin way they live for Goldie. The guy get money, and he one give me better Yahoo update way go bring millions. If Una interested, I fit introduce Una too." The boy's eyes widened with excitement. "Oh boy, you be better person, no? People like you day rare," they said happily. They exchanged numbers, and the next day they met again. This time, Ikori arrived with a small car. "Make Una enter." "Nah, my cousin get this motor," she said. The guys entered with joy. As they drove, Ikori blew the evil powder again, and the 5 young men slept off instantly. Ikori transformed into her real body and delivered the boys to her witches. They smiled and praised her loudly. "Now you're doing well. One more to go," they chorused. Ikori smiled proudly. That night, she slept in the bush with an evil grin on her face. "One more soul to deliver," she thought. "Just one. Who will be the lucky person?" She laughed wickedly. The next day, she sat on her rubber chair at her roadside stand, waiting for customers. Then she suddenly saw a handsome young man with a nice body walking toward her. For the first time in her entire existence, Ikori felt something she had never felt before: attraction. The handsome young man approached her yellow roadside stand casually, holding out his ATM card. "I want to withdraw 5,000 naira, he said. Ikori's heart skipped. The witch's order for the 7th soul echoed in her head, but she couldn't bear to drag this man into her darkness. "No, sorry," she said quickly. "I don't have good network now. In fact, I don't even have cash." But she did. Plenty. Fresh notes inside her handbag. She simply didn't want to give him her evil money. She didn't want misfortune to follow him. The man David nodded politely. "No problem. Make I try another POS," he said as he turned to leave. But before he could take a second step, Ikori held his hand lightly. "Please, can I have your number?" David looked at her closely and smiled. She was beautiful, likable, magnetic. He read out his number. She saved it immediately. That was the beginning. From that day, they chatted non-stop. They talked till midnight. They laughed as if they had known each other their whole lives. And soon, Ikori visited his house. David lived alone in a small but neat one-room apartment. He welcomed her warmly. They talked, played, teased, and one thing led to another. Their lips met. Then they slid under the blanket, and Ikori spelled coconut with her waist, something no man ever forgot. David was so astonished that when it ended, he held her waist and whispered, "Please come and spell coconut again." They became inseparable. Ikori, the same dangerous witch who traded destinies through her POS, had fallen hopelessly in love. She knew her senior witches would never approve, but she didn't care. Her heart had chosen David. Days turned into weeks. Ikori stopped sleeping in the bush. She stayed permanently in David's house. She cooked for him. He rubbed her feet. They joked, laughed, played, loved. It was a strange peace she had never known, but darkness never forgets its own. One morning, after David left for work, Ikori entered the bathroom to sweep when suddenly the air turned cold. A dark shadow filled the room. The witches appeared, angry, disappointed, restless. "Where is the seventh soul?" they demanded. Ikori trembled. "Please, I need more time." "Time?" they roared. They circled her. Their voices shook the bathroom mirror. "You have failed again. We asked for 7 souls. You brought only 6, and you still cannot deliver one more?" Ikori shouted back, her voice shaking. "I am still working. I still ruin lives daily. I cause them financial setback every day through my POS. I deserve more time." But her words only angered them more. Their leader stepped forward. "Deliver David as the 7th soul, or we will kill him ourselves." Those words stabbed Ikori's heart. "No!" she screamed. "Take my life. Take me, not David. We do not want you," the witches hissed. "We want him. 24 hours. If you fail, he dies." And they vanished. Ikori collapsed on the bathroom floor, shaking. Tears ran down her face. Her heart broke. Her mind scattered. 24 hours to choose between her lover and her own life. That evening, David returned home. He walked in smiling, ready to tease her, but he froze when he saw her swollen eyes, her trembling hands, her pale face. "Baby, what happened?" Ikori took a deep breath and told him everything. From Abakba to Calabar South, to the witches, to the sacrifices, to the evil POS, to the 6 souls. And now, the order to deliver him. David staggered backward. Fear swallowed him. He ran to the door instinctively, then stopped. He looked back at Ikori. She was crying, shaking, begging, broken. His heart melted. Suddenly, courage rose in him. "Let's run," he whispered. "Let's go to church." He grabbed her hand tightly, and together they ran straight to the nearest church. Bursting through the doors, they fell in front of the altar. "Help us!" David cried. "She is under attack!" Ikori shouted. The priest rushed out. Prayer warriors gathered. They placed hands on them and prayed with fire, power, and violent intensity. Ikori screamed. David screamed. The lights flickered. Wind blew. A dark shadow rose from Ikori's back and burst like smoke into the air. David fell and shook violently as a dark cloud lifted from around him. After hours of warfare, Ikori was delivered. David was cleansed. Every chain broke. Every curse shattered. The following Sunday, Ikori stood before the whole church. She confessed everything, her powers, her evil POS, the destinies she ruined, the souls she delivered. People screamed. Some fainted. News spread across Calabar South. Everyone who had ever withdrawn money from her students, market women, travelers, hustlers, gamblers, rushed to the church for deliverance. And one by one, their lives became normal again. But let this sink in. The witches still exist, and it is possible they still have other members working silently among us, just like Ikori once did. Be prayerful, be careful, and always stay spiritually alert. Not every smiling face is harmless. Not every pause is ordinary, but don't be afraid to withdraw money. Just hold on to God tightly. Not every blessing is real. Some come with hidden destruction. Be careful who you trust. A single wrong encounter can redirect a person's destiny. Love can change anyone, but only God can truly save. Stay prayerful. The world is deeper than what the eyes can see. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, like the video, drop your thoughts in the comment section, subscribe for more amazing stories, and share this story with someone. We are Delia Story Time on all platforms, bringing you the best stories always. Bye for now.